Hey guys, Big Dan Bates here from Bates Photography, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about the Part 107 Remote Pilot Certificate. So if you are flying a drone and doing photography, videography, or even just visual inspections, in any manner that you are getting compensated, whether it be money or a barter, the example the FAA uses is football tickets, or the most recent update to the law, the betterment of a business. And what that means is your brother has a landscape business, and you take your drone and you film some of his freshly landscaped homes for him to put up on his website. You have to be registered commercial, because that is for the betterment of a business. And what they realized is that people were kind of using that loophole. Well, I'm including the drone footage in my real estate listing. They're not paying extra for it. Things of that nature. So that's why they now changed it. It's for compensation or betterment of a business. Now, a lot of people will talk about this certificate and they'll say, well, that's just the government trying to get hands on my money because they ain't getting none for my taxes because droning isn't a taxable resource. And that is true, but that's not why they're doing it. They're doing it because if you're a commercial pilot, if you are flying your drone, whether it be for real estate photography, whether you're doing roofing inspections, solar panel inspections, whatever it may be that you are using your drone for, you inspect crops for your local agricultural establishments, whatever you may be doing it for, if you are doing it for hire or doing it as a favor for a friend who has a business, they want you to be certified. The reason being, you're going to be in the air a lot more than anybody who got a drone for Christmas. They'll play with it for a month, they'll never look at it again. You're going to be in the air a lot more for a longer period of time, and more importantly, in varied regions, different places around your state, around the country, wherever it may be. They really need you to fully understand the codes, the laws, the regulations, most importantly, the airspace. Have a full understanding of airspace. So you turn on your app, we'll talk about the DJI Go app in a little bit, by the way. You turn on your app, or you look at hover or look at before you fly, and you see there's all these restrictions. You know, you're near an airport. You need to understand, okay, well, I'm in Class B airspace, but I'm more than 5 miles from an airport. So I'm capped at 400 feet with a drone unless I'm flying over, I'm within 400 feet of a structure, then I can go 400 feet above that structure. That's all fine and dandy, but you need to know if you're under the very first floor, the very first tier of that Class B airspace, where does that start? You need to be able to look at that chart and say, okay, well, it starts at 1,300 feet or wherever it is, so you know that you can stay well out of that airspace. And that's really what it's about. Now, I just took mine, and I unfortunately, unlike so many of the YouTube photographers, I'm not wealthy, and I literally had to save up. I actually sold some of my cameras on eBay and used a Christmas bonus from my 40-hour-a-week job to buy my Phantom 4 Pro. I've been wanting it for a couple of years now. And so I actually just took my test, and your result will look something like this. And what's interesting is, so you get your grade here. You know, it says 90, but what's interesting is if I can see around this paper right here, they list on there how many times you've taken the test. I'm not sure why it's relevant. Once you pass, but I find it interesting. Now, my uncle, who is actually a flight instructor, he actually teaches people how to fly real planes, he had said something to me. The test that you take for this is literally kind of a scaled down version of the written test to be a real pilot. You know, if you get a driving test, driving license, you have to take a written test and a road test. This is a smaller version of the actual written test to be a pilot. A lot of the information or questions on the test wouldn't really relate to a drone. It's relating to actual piloting, and it's interesting, and I want to get into that as well. But understand that if you are doing this, if you're droning and you're doing it for financial purposes or part of your business or whatever it may be, even if it's to promote your own photography business, you have to be registered. Spend the $150. It's real simple to do. I want to go through kind of step by step with you guys here because I'm a pretty intelligent guy. I mean, this video isn't about me bragging about my very high IQ, but I'm a pretty intelligent guy. I get stuff very quick and I retain information very well. The whole process was a bit of a shambles. You had to kind of look and understand and kind of make out stuff for yourself a lot. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to contact CATS or PSI, and all this stuff I'll be linking in the description. So for instance, I did the number for PSI. The number for PSI that's on the web doesn't work. But it turns out PSI actually bought CATS, but CATS still operates as CATS, but they're PSI as well. So I'll put the phone number that works as well as a link to their website. You call them. They set up the facility. There's a whole list of facilities that you can choose from. They set it up. They do everything. So you pay them the $150 on the phone. They set everything up. You go on the date, and you get it. Now, when I called, the particular woman I spoke to wasn't as helpful as some of the other people I've heard their experiences being. The airport that I went to, which is a local small airport here in South Jersey, to take my test, they don't answer the phone. They return calls. So I had to actually call them, wait for the call back, set a date, then call back PSI or CATS and make the payment and tell them the ID number of the testing location and the date I was scheduled to take it. But from there, they plug everything and it's done. So once you get that done, you go to the testing center on the appropriate time and date. Show up about 15 minutes early. They do have to register you in. There's some things you got to do. There's one point you're going to have to sign and then agree to basically a disclosure saying that you can't talk about what questions are on the test. You can't distribute, copy, send out, put on YouTube, the content of the test. And again, there's a good reason for that. They want people to be able to know this stuff and not cheat. In fact, if you get caught cheating, it's pretty serious. They don't take it lightly. They don't let you bring your own paper into the room, no cell phones, nothing. They take it, oddly, very seriously. You'll sit down at a computer. There'll be numbers lined up down the left side of the screen. You'll click on each one. They're your questions. And then you'll click A, B, or C, multiple choice. You get to 60. You're done. Some testing centers are doing 63 questions because they're trying out experimental questions now to see if they want to add them to the test. And you won't know what ones are gradable, what ones are not. So at the end, it'll be in my center. I had a short survey to fill out, and then it gave me my grade, which was 90%. You have 2 hours to take the test. I did it in like 30 minutes. And I want to say this. I can't talk about what's on the test. First of all, I watched the Northrups have a YouTube video talking all about the test, kind of doing a review of all the information. Basically, he did a video but putting in different terms the free FAA Study Guide and course. So it was neat to sit there and watch it without having to read it. So there's that. I'll link to that. The FAA has a free course you can sign up for. It takes about 2 hours to navigate your way through it, and it has a practice test, and that was helpful. What I found most helpful, there is an app. So there's this company called Flight School. Now, I will say this. I have no affiliation. They are not sponsoring me. They are not paying me to say this. Again, like a lot of the other YouTube photographers out there, I have no sponsorships. I get no kickbacks. I have no special links that if you buy something on Amazon through the link I provided, I get a kickback. We get none of that. If I'm telling you about something, it's because it's the real deal. It's good shit, and you should go out and try it. So, I believe it was $25 on the iPhone or the App Store, the Apple App Store. It's also available for Android if you're an Android person. So Flight School is the company. Now these are people that actually, they're a flight school. They actually do pilot training, but they have something called ground school. And the icon's a little different. It's a little brown icon that says ground school, and it's specifically designed for the UAS, the unmanned aircrafts. And it's about 10 hours to navigate through the actual learning portion. Then they have practice questions. You can take the 60-question practice exam as many times as you want, over and over, and it'll randomly generate questions. In every section, there's like 8 or 10 sections. There'll be 100 questions for flight operations and 40 questions based on weather stuff, whether it be weather itself, reading a weather report, reading advisory maps. There'll be 40 questions on emergencies. So every time you do the practice test, it'll generate different 60 questions. And it's good to run through and keep doing the test, keep doing the test, keep doing the test, and seeing what grade you get. If you do the study session instead, where you can kind of choose any number of questions you want to take, every one you get wrong, it's going to bring up an explanation that you can read and kind of get it in your head what the right answer would have been. It'll tell you what the right answer would be and explain it to you. Very helpful. There were a couple things that I hit the button by mistake because I got big meaty fingers. A couple of times it wasn't something I may have skimmed through when I was reading through the course and maybe skipped over it. But seeing the right answer was a huge help. And explaining why that's the answer, it's a huge help. Once you get through that and you take the practice test several times and you're consistently scoring above, a 65 or above a 75, 80, 90, whatever, and you're consistently scoring above 75, I'd say you're probably ready. Now again, that's called ground school, and it's available. It's a pay app. But it's worth every penny. It's on Apple or Android, and I'll post a link if I can get that all together in the description as well. One caveat to all this: I watched the Tony Northrup video. I did the FAA Free Course, and I worked on flight school for probably a month, or ground school for a month, scoring hundreds on the tests and doing everything. On the actual testing center tests, not only are they worded differently, and they do that on purpose, the FAA evidently has released a series of questions for practice tests, and they word things differently because they don't want it to be a matter of memory. They don't want you to read the first three first three words in the sentence and automatically know, oh, well, that was this answer. So you do have to think and take your time when you're taking the test. But aside from that, there were some questions on there that had nothing to do with anything the FAA, Tony Northrup, or ground school ever covered. In fact, afterwards, I was speaking to the proctor, and there was one particular question I had gotten wrong, and I said, I've never came across anything like that. I never heard of either of the three answers they were giving me, much less the one I did, but that wouldn't have been the answer. That was for weather. The other two I never even heard of. The frequencies they were using seemed familiar, but you look on a sectional chart and those frequencies don't exist at any airport. So it was just weird, peculiar things like that. So when you go to take the test, if you're ready to do the test and you go take the test, understand that there's going to be some and that you may not get, and that's okay. I missed 5 questions. It was about 12 or 13 questions on things that were never covered on any of those resources, and of those 13 or whatever it was, I got 5 wrong. And all you can do is kind of look at what they're asking you, look at the chart or whatever it is that's relative to that question, and really the only thing you can do is take the information you have and everything you learned in these courses and make your best guess. And it got me through. I got 5 out of however many there were wrong, and I still scored a 90. Now, I mentioned about that take 1 on the test. When I was taking my test, the guy said, wow, you got a 90. How many times have you taken it? And I said, this is the first time. Like, why? Like, how many? And his stance was, it's pretty common for people to fail the first time through, which I thought was funny. Then my uncle, who again, he does flight instruction, He was impressed at the 90, but then again, he's basing that on full-on pilots tests, written tests. So it's all that input. It's not about me. I'm so smart. It's more about understanding that this test can pose certain challenges. So be prepared for that and just follow your instincts. Don't change answers. You mark something down. If you're not sure about something, whatever answer you go with, trust your gut, stick with it. And you're going to turn out fine. I mean, I was a little anxious going into this test. It's been a long time since I took a standardized test of any sort. But once I was there, it was a breeze. And the real key is to take your time and pay attention. Read the question twice, 3 times if you have to, because there are a lot of trick questions, I want to say, where they'll ask you something, and if you just breeze over it, you won't realize that it said controlled airspace. You'll just be like, you're flying in such and such airspace, and you're flying at 300 feet, inspecting a tower. Do you need ATC clearance? Something along that lines. That wasn't a real question. I'm just saying. You got to be careful because a lot of questions will say uncontrolled airspace, but then randomly one question will say controlled airspace. So you really got to pay attention to those types of things. So now, what to do now? If you fail your test, you have to reapply, pay the $150 again, and then you can take it again. Afterwards, you'll get the CAT people provided this little thing here, and it actually tells you, what to do now. So you have to go on to the iacra.faa.gov/iacra/. And you get there and you're like, okay, so this is where I file my application to get the certificate. Except nowhere on that web page does it tell you, click here to apply for your certificate. What you have to do when you're on that page is you go up to the right-hand corner and you'll see login. Underneath there, you'll see register. So you have to register first. You're going to click register. It's going to ask you for your certificate number and the date it was issued. You don't have one yet. It's not streamlined. So when you click, first of all, you're going to click applicant on the very first page, agree to services. Then it's going to ask you to register. Just completely skip the certificate number and date of issue. Go to your name, all that type of stuff. Fill out all your personal information. You got to create a very elaborate password. It has to be like 12 characters long. It must contain a number, a capital, as well as a symbol. It's FAA. They don't mess around with security, I guess. And your exam ID number, which is going to be on this page, right there. That's not all of it. There's more to it, but I'm covering it. Exam ID, you're going to need to enter that. Now, here's the other catch. You're going to have to wait 2 business days. So I took my test on a Saturday. I came and couldn't even file this until Wednesday. It takes 2 business days for that test and those results to actually get registered with the FAA. So you go on the day after your test, the morning, right after your test, 2 days after your test. There's a good chance when you put that number in, it's going to say, we can't find this exam. So you're going to wait 2 full business days after the test. So testing day doesn't count. 2 full business days. So on the third business day after the day of your test, you should be able to register. So once you go on and it accepts that information, now you can submit that application, and you should get a temporary digital one, and then depending how backed up they are, you'll get your real one in the mail. So that's just a kind of a walkthrough. It's not always streamlined, and it's not always easy, and I'm sure everyone's experience is going to be completely different depending on what operator they get on the other end of the line for CATs. If PSI's numbers working any given day of the week, where they go. My proctor was nice. He was very poignant, very clear with all my instructions, and it was very smooth. And then the follow-up, actually then applying for your certificate, there's no, they have to understand that people are coming for that particular certificate. They don't know anything about the FAA. They're not already registered with the FAA. They already don't have an FAA login. They should make it clearer to you where you have to go and what you have to do. And they should have a little listing next to those boxes about their certificate or license ID numbers that, this is for returning licensed pilots or something. Just have it be a little clearer, So that's that. Now, if you are a droner, if you are a DJI droner, there's been some concerns about the DJI Go app. Right now we're on DJI Go 4. I guess before this they had a different app. I'm new to this. I just got my drone recently, and I watch a gentleman on YouTube. His name is Heron. I'll link his channel below. A lot of great videos. He's kind of a big geek. He's a radio host at some country station in Tennessee, but he's a local boy. He's from right across the bridge from me here in Philly. I don't personally know him. I've never personally met him. I watch all his videos. I've been in communication with him, he speaks about this a lot on his stuff. He has these Thursday night live shows he does from the radio station he works at, and he talks about this a lot. So the DJI Go app, yeah, it flies your drone, it lets you set your settings, it tells you where you are, it helps with your navigation, gives visuals. It's great. It's like being in a cockpit of a plane, I guess. But evidently the whole time it's running, it's constantly feeding information to DJI, to the FAA, back to the developers in China, who are then selling that information to third parties, and that I found to be a little unnerving. I will, in a future video, discuss workarounds and options for the DJI Go app, things that you can use for that. Now, I'm sure other companies' apps may do something similar, but Ken Heron has I say Heron, his name's Heron. Ken has people who actually are working on this situation and researching it, and once he finds out more and I learn more, I'll be happy to share with you guys. Now Ken, ironically enough, I had just got my drone and my first flight was on Christmas Eve morning here in South Jersey. Come to find out, Ken was home for the holidays. He was also filming the very same Christmas Eve sunrise from over in Philly, just kind of northwest of the city, just outside of that airspace. There's a little pie piece missing. I'm not sure why. It's the strangest thing I've seen. There's a pie piece missing from the Class B airspace, and he happened to get right in that little nook. And he happened to be filming the sunset the same exact time I was. After seeing his video posted, I went to reach out to him about it, and there was no response. Come to find out, he was in a very, very serious car accident on his way home from Christmas back to Tennessee, down in Roanoke, Virginia area. His car was just destroyed. He broke his back. He's in pretty bad shape. Somehow his little dog survived, which is amazing. So he's pretty banged up. He's pretty beat up. He's been in the hospital now. It's been a couple of weeks. He's been moved to a rehab facility. He'll be there for several more weeks. He's going stir crazy. He's trying to do live broadcasts a few times a day. Fans set up a GoFundMe page because his hospital bills are going to be astonishing. And again, like me, he's not rich. So I think he comes from some money, though. I've seen some of his videos. But anyway, I'm going to post a link to his channel. If anybody would like to check out his stuff about droning, he certainly is a lot more knowledgeable than I am. I will be making more content about drones and stuff as I learn. Trying to putting it in maybe a little different language. What I typically do with my content video, if there's something that I'm unsure about or I want to find out about, and I watch a bunch of videos that don't make a lot of sense to me or were done very clear with their wording or their explanations, I will research, find out the proper way, and then I like to make a video explaining it in terms that I would understand. So hopefully that helps people. But he has a lot of great drone videos, and if you just want to wish him well or drop by and make a small donation, that would be great. He's awesome. He's funny. He's a, like I say, he's a bit of a geek, but I like him. He's pretty cool. So I'll post his stuff down there too if you are watching this video because you're new to droning. A lot of great information. A lot of fun videos, a lot of awesome videos. I guess he does a lot of traveling with his radio work, and he has videos from all over the country. Just some amazing stuff. So that's about it for this. I really wanted to go over about the certification and some of the little weird things that you got to kind of fumble through. And I'm about my limit of ums for the day, so I'm signing off. So again, Big Dan Bates for Bates Photography. Keep watching. Please like this video if you found it helpful. Subscribe if you want to see more original content, educational content, fun stuff. There's going to be a lot of drone stuff coming up. Some just kind of relaxing drone footage videos, drone instruction videos. production stuff. And there's a couple other video projects I'm going to be working on in the near future. With photography, we have some stuff on the A7R3 that I just haven't got done yet. Some menu things. I've been known to do menu walkthroughs. The menu, I'm not going to do a full menu walkthrough, but I'm going to go over all the new stuff if you are coming from the A9 or the A6500 and this is your first A7 camera. A lot of the stuff that's going to look strange to you in the menu, that's going to be coming up. So we got a lot of newer content coming. For those who have watched my videos, you notice something looks a little different back here. I'm actually at my wife's workstation. Eileen, several months ago, has gone vegan, and so she has been working on some content for her channel, for her blog, if you will, or vlog, which will be leading up to a bigger project that she's going to be working on. So all of my video stuff is now on her workstation, which is why the lighting and everything probably looks weird. And but she is it's called Plus Sized to Plant-Based. So if you guys want to check that out, if you're interested in that type of stuff. Right now she's just kind of just telling her story and why she did it and some of the immediate effects it's had on her body, which are amazing because doctors couldn't do this for her, but going vegan did. But eventually we're going to be doing some stuff probably together because I'm the cook in the family. Kind of meal videos, food videos. I know she's already done some snack reviews, things like that. So, look, we're fat. Even though she went vegan and I'm trying to go vegetarian at least, we still love our snacks. So, if you want to check that out, I'll post that link as well in the description. With all that being said, you guys have a great new year. May your new year be blessed with prosperity, health, and love. See ya.